Sandra, for more on this, let's bring in Mercedes Schlapp, former White House senior advisor for strategic communications under President Trump, and Kevin Walling, former Biden campaign surrogate. Let's tick through some of these races where Republicans are doing exceedingly well in what were thought to be Democratic strongholds. Let's go back to Alan Fung in Rhode Island, leading in a district the Democrats have held since 1991. New York, Republican Lee Zeldin gaining ground on Governor Kathy Hochul, even though it's considered a solid D in terms of the rankings. Is that going to change? We'll see. In Oregon, Republican Christine Drazan leading Democrat Tina Kotek and the independent Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson's a pistol, by the way. She really is. Then we have in Nevada, Republican Adam Laxalt, who's leading Senator Catherine Cortez Masto in the RCP average. Nevada again for governor, Republican Joe Lombardo leading Governor Steve Sisolak in the RCP average. And then this one in Los Angeles, the race for mayor, former Republican Rick Caruso in a dead heat with Karen Bass. Mercedes, what's driving this altered landscape?
Well, I got to tell you, I think you're seeing that especially in the swing districts, you're seeing inflation and economy and Biden's poor job performance really reflecting and pushing these voters into the Republican slot. But what's interesting also is the diversity of candidates that you're watching coming out of the Republican Party. They have a story. You know, you look at Yesli Vega, who was obviously an immigrant from El Salvador, Alan Fung, who you're talking about Rhode Island, blue Rhode Island. It rated in CPAC the third most liberal state in the country, and yet he's making inroads in that state. This
Myra
is happening
Flores,
not only,
Hung Kao.
but it's not just, it's Rhode Island, Connecticut, it's, it's Maine, it's these New England states that for the first time you're seeing Republicans really gaining ground. I think this is indicative of a red wave when you're seeing these congressional districts move from blue to purple and possibly red.
Red wave. Are Democrats headed for higher ground to weather the storm?
Well, I love Mercy's confidence. Hopefully it's overconfidence. I love that mentality heading into this midterm cycle. Listen, Democrats were always the underdogs. You had the historic trends against us. But what I look at, not necessarily are these polls, and you've had some outliers, the Siena poll, New York Times poll.
Whoa, full stop.
That was an outlier.
When has a New York Times Siena poll ever been
fake
considered
news.
an
It's fake
outlier?
news coming from the Democrat. But listen, I look at the actual vote numbers right now. Just about 5 million Americans
I love how we slipped that in. That outlier in the New York Times.
Just about 5 million Americans have already voted, and Democrats have seen their increase in about 2%. Republicans are down over their early vote numbers from 2018. That shows real enthusiasm. Georgia's blowing the numbers out when it comes to early vote down in the Peach State as well. That's a good thing that is a good thing for the Democrats on the ballot.
I'm so glad you admitted that New York Times is like fake news. That just makes me just
well, what about all that voter suppression in Georgia?
Well, certainly they're overcoming that. They've spent these last 2 years figuring out how to get their people the proper documentation and the turnout.
Let me go to this outlier poll, the New York Times Siena poll, because there has been a incredible swing among independent women voters. In September, women voters who were independent favored the Democrats by 14 points. Now they favor the GOP by 18. What's responsible for that?
Well, I think the Democrats really made the decision to invest on focusing on abortion and really abortion alone. Even President Biden had a recent event where it was all about the fact of codifying Roe v. Wade. Now, why that will drive the liberal base and even some suburban women, they keep forgetting that there are those suburban women who are pro-life or who are saying, look, to me, it's about the economy. It's about school choice. It's about these cultural issues of I don't want my kids to be indoctrinated or, on gender confusion issues or on these drag queen scenarios that we keep seeing. So I think for the Democrats, they overplayed their hand on abortion. I think you look at, again, the swing districts, and their focus is on what's happening in terms of crime, in terms of the economy, in terms of immigration. Republicans obviously are in a much stronger position on those topics.
Kevin, when independent women were trending toward Democrats at the end of the summer, Democrats were saying independent women are going to decide this election. Well, if that's still true, are you guys in trouble?
They still are. And to Mercy's point, I think Democrats have to do a better job talking about the economy as the #1 issue in all of these polls. That's why you saw the president so aggressively talking about bringing down gas prices yesterday from the White House, releasing more from our reserves to tackle those rising gas prices. And we've seen those prices tick down over the last 2 weeks.
All right. Always great to talk to you, folks. Good to see you wearing purple today.
Thanks, John.